Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves a couple of characters here today. It's going to be MuleBot, the bot of many builds, going to be taking on ANIBot. A very cool Terran bot that's sort of shaken things up a little bit. And now it's going to have to deal with whatever chaos MuleBot is going for today, as you never know what MuleBot's going to do. But the very cool thing about MuleBot is it's got a lot of strategies, and it's quite rare that they look just like bad, like just poorly executed or poorly programmed or whatever. They seem quite well-rounded for being as crazy as they are. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, if you haven't already, go ahead, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches, as that helps us with the YouTube bot, which is yet another bot that needs to be worried about. And yeah, subscribe, all that good stuff. Big thanks to everyone that is a YouTube member and makes these daily casts possible. So we do have ANIBot just seemingly going for a normal opening here. Just one gas for now. So I'm wondering if we'll get a command center. Meanwhile, MuleBot is going for a single proxy racks with a single proxy factory. And based off the tag 111, I get the feeling there's going to be a single starport as well. So just a dirty, dirty proxy from MuleBot. And yeah, we'll see how ANIBot's going to handle that, as ANIBot is not scouting. It is moving out to build a command center. Now, little inefficiency there, as it didn't have the SCV right there when it queued up the command center. So it lost a little bit of time, but that's being rather nitpicky. Now there is a tech lab going up on the factory for ANIBot that could be very useful when it comes to defending against potential shenanigans of MuleBot, as a tank is just so important to early game defense. We've got an aggressive tank on the way for MuleBot, and actually a bunker being attempted to be constructed. It does get canceled though by 2 Marines of ANIBot, as that is a nice start for the defense. It might have set off some alarm bells for the blue Terran bot, like, hey, why on earth are you building a bunker in my natural? Now, ANIBot is suffering a little bit from that second gas, in the sense that it has yet to be able to start up a siege tank, and now it's actually going for a second factory, not building any units other than just Marines out of this barracks, and that's really, really painful. I do hope we get like a Viking or a tank, something soon, as otherwise ANIBot's going to be in a lot of trouble, and it is in a lot of trouble now, as the Marines, I guess, didn't see that tank, but it gets a nice shot off on them. There's a Cyclone on the way for ANIBot. That's something ANIBot makes good use of, but that Marine, it's gonna run just almost in vision of the tank. The tank does unsiege for MuleBot. Now it's looking for another position. Very interesting position for this tank to set up. It does change its pathing to actually try and go towards that main base. There's lots of Marines to buffer for it, and the Marines of ANIBot that are defending are in a lot of trouble here, as they were all softened up by that first tank shot. Now ANIBot, it's got the one Cyclone trying to handle this. There is a Liberator out there going towards the main base, but there's not too many units for MuleBot, so the Cyclone is picking off those Marines one at a time. 4 SCVs have gone down, as I guess ANIBot has tried to get some SCVs to the low ground, but they can't, as the depot is raised, so the pathing doesn't take that into account. We do have a lot of denied mining time by this Liberator of MuleBot, which is very, very nice. And we'll see if ANIBot's going to handle that. The Liberator repositions. The Cyclone is going in. If it can get a lock off, that would be a big deal. But then there's a Marine at the front, which pulls the attention of the Cyclone. Meanwhile, MuleBot, what's it doing? It's building another barracks back at home. It does have a natural command center, so it is following up this cheese. And the Liberator is still causing problems, as it seems that MuleBot keeps sending units to the front, which kind of is distracting ANIBot. ANIBot does eventually deal with one of the Liberators. Nicely done. The tank on the low ground actually gets locked onto, so the pathing isn't perfect from MuleBot in this situation. We do have two bases for each Terran, and so far MuleBot is behind on workers a little bit, so it hasn't got enough damage done with this aggression. So really nicely done in defense by ANIBot. A bit of a wackier attack by MuleBot. I think if it kept that tank sieged up, it would have had a lot more success, but I guess it was trying to couple it up with the Liberator. This tank is moving forward. How far is it going to go? The answer is way too far forward. The Liberator is trying to siege up to help out. It does kill off that Marine there. The Cyclones may have a hard time getting in to get the lock off. Their pathing is actually not perfect, as I think it must have been the SCVs in the back that pushed that one Cyclone too far in. And oh yeah, just imperfect, I guess, just pathing or hitboxes does cause that other Cyclone to eat a shot. Liberators are something that's very difficult to program around, and it's funny that this one Liberator just sieged up kind of randomly is having more success than really anything else of MuleBot. This other tank is moving forward. Looks like it is going very far in. Come on, you're a siege tank. Siege on up. But this time the Liberator is coming forward to help out. That is quite a nice position, as it's going to be very, very difficult for those Cyclones to get down that ramp. The Cyclone does get a lock-on to the siege tank, which is nice to pick that off, but then we still have the problem. That is this big old Liberator hanging out on the ramp, kills off one Cyclone, and the Marines, I think, are just going to run right on into that. So yeah, MuleBot's aggression is really paying off here. It's got yet another tank coming forward. The tank probably won't have much success, as they seem to have suicidal tendencies. But MuleBot does have a third base on the way behind this. It's getting up some more production, which is good to see. That's the cool thing about MuleBot's cheese. It goes for crazy cheese, but then it does macro quite solid behind it. The Cyclones do get a lock on one of the tanks, but man, oh man, we really, really need to see a Viking here from ANIBot. A Viking would solve this problem. It just seems not to be doing that. I think it even said it was going like Tank Viking. There is a reactor done on the starport, so we do finally get a Viking on the way. Hooray for that, as it was Marine Cyclone Viking as the comp for ANIBot. And like, it hasn't taken too much damage yet. It's losing quite a few SCVs at this natural, but like, it can come back from this. The Cyclone does get a nice lock on, will kill off that tank, as the tanks of MuleBot have really underperformed in this game. The Cyclones are the saving grace for ANIBot, but once this Viking's out, things could really start to look up for ANIBot, as these Liberators are the main problem for them right now, as they delete 1-2 Cyclones. The Viking is a hero, though, and it's coming on in. I mean, a lot of units seem like they will die before that gets handled, but there is still an end in sight for the Blue Terran bot. As one Liberator goes down, the Cyclones are still helping pick off some of these units. This Viking will get the second Liberator, and then the day will be saved. That Liberator actually unsieges. The Viking dispatches it. There's now 2 Vikings to handle this, and this has been a rather prolonged assault by MuleBot, but I do kind of worry for MuleBot in this situation. I know it looks like its position is great, but as far as like fundamentals go, I do think the longer this game goes on for ANIBot, the better it will be. As we see that Cyclone get a nice lock onto that tank. The Marine even gets on top of it to finish it off. So ANIBot does secure that base in the upper right. Yes, I'm quite excited to see if ANIBot can come back from this position. It's got a long way to go, but for now, if MuleBot just keeps rallying in units, we really need to see some sort of pooling or something on these units at this point. Like, it's now getting out everything under the sun. Cloaking Field, Banshees, Factories, Armories, +1 attack on the way, so MuleBot is really teching behind this. Widowmine will kill off a Marine and then run away. The running away is the important part. A little bit of a taste of its own medicine, as we see ANIBot actually take some damage from a Widowmine for a change. Looks like another Liberator is moving forward. MuleBot does have a phenomenal economy with these 4 bases, but ANIBot is getting up to its own 4th. It's building lots of SCVs, and these two will be on a mostly even economy, whereas like these units are still kind of just running in one at a time for MuleBot, which could really spell disaster. Like this tank popping out. Where's it going? Okay, the base in the upper right has been spotted, so a Marine is going to harass that. ANIBot is aware and very blunt, saying you have Banshees, as that gets handled. These couple Marines harassing this base in the upper right is a big deal. ANIBot Cyclones are responding to it, though, so we do have very advanced bots here in the sense that one's harassing and the other's just dispatching units to handle that harassment. MuleBot's production is quite nice at this point. It's getting a Thor on the way, getting Stim armor on the way. Meanwhile, ANIBot is kind of just rolling with this Cyclone Viking style. Widowmine goes down, another tank will go down here. It's going to try and siege up. MuleBot, I think that's my biggest complaint for its tanks, is that they're like unsieged when they're within range of units at times. Now, we'll see whether it can keep putting pressure on its opponent. Banshee does get scanned. At least it does cost the scan to clean that up. The Cyclones, though, of ANIBot do have a lot of potential here to just destroy this bio. They deal so much damage to those Marines. And yeah, we do have MuleBot moving towards the upper right, causing some problems. Not really diving on these SCVs, though, and the Cyclones are coming in to clean this up. The base does get lifted. The SCVs, at least, are not scattering. They're kind of pathing out of this, but that was a lot of resources lost for MuleBot. More random Marines are running on in. We're getting ghosts that are being produced, which are just horrendous against mech units, so that's not good for MuleBot. As ghosts, I mean, like, this isn't Brood War. They do not have lockdown. Like, the only sort of anti-mech thing they have remotely is EMP, but none of these units use energy, so we do have MuleBot trying to juggle some of its tanks against these Cyclones. Tanks are just running away from the lock-on and dying. Bio is stimming in, but MuleBot, yes, is throwing away a lot of units and a lot of resources, as it has been doing this game. The losses for ANIBot are much more simple. It is a 5-basing Terran. Meanwhile, MuleBot is going up to base number, 7 presently. So MuleBot's still got a lot of potential in this game. It's adding on more production, getting up the 1/1 upgrades. Now +2 armor is on the way. There is random units all over the place as MuleBot is sowing chaos. I guess ANIBot is actually still just 4 bases. It's rebuilding the 5th base. As this production does get cleaned up, that may be a good thing for MuleBot if it actually consolidates that a little bit. The Widow Mines are getting some nice connections too. Meanwhile, this base in the upper right was successfully harassed. The Ghosts getting personal cloaking would be nice to potentially burn some more scans or cause some more problems, as MuleBot is, like, it's doing okay, but it is on even supply now with ANIBot, which means it does have to start taking better fights. It's got 28 Marines that seem to be scattered pretty much through the entire map, which is just wild. It's building a Thor. We are getting a fusion core on the way. I don't think battle cruisers are a good choice against mass Cyclone Viking. Now these units are still running all over the place, harassing. The Ghosts will soon have cloaking, so perhaps that will go a little bit better. Liberators are being added in for ANIBot, though, as it improves its composition. Some Marines fighting a Liberator, they then run away, not realizing they maybe should have stood their ground, and maybe they'd have won there. More command centers are going up for MuleBot all over the place, as its income is just going to be reaching ridiculous levels, but so is the income of ANIBot. ANIBot's supply is growing, whereas MuleBot's is not. It's getting advanced ballistics, 2/2 upgrades on the way, but it's still kind of just not building a solid force. These Marines are getting some nice harassment done. It may pull the attention of ANIBot away, which MuleBot really needs to do, is it still hasn't mustered up a big enough army, and this is really how MuleBot operates, throwing whatever it can at the wall and seeing what sticks. The Cyclones, though, of ANIBot are doing a really good job poking forward. There is the Liberators, and despite having this ridiculously good economy, I do get the feeling that ANIBot is going to prevail. And that's kind of what I mentioned, that in the long run, if ANIBot can survive the chaos of MuleBot, it will probably win out, because it does have better unit management when it comes to sort of head-on-head fights. Like, the harassment of MuleBot is very strong right now. Like, I love sending out just like 1 Marine or something to a base to harass, because if your opponent doesn't have good programming in order to handle that, it becomes very complicated. But for now, we're just seeing like a tank spinning in circles when it would be better sieging. We're seeing a Ghost run forward. Well, not run forward. Cloak, then uncloak, then recloak. But now it's going to be out of energy. And MuleBot is kind of being compromised here, as it's just losing too much. And there is a few Thors on the way, which is cool. The ghosts really are not great against a mech composition. I mean, they don't seem to realize they've got cloak. They do run forward, but they don't really shoot anything. Random bio units running all over the place. A battle cruiser is on the way. Who knows? Maybe that'll teleport to ANIBot's base and pull back the entire Blue Terran army. One can hope for MuleBot to give itself some much-needed time, but let's see where it goes. It is just going to fly on in there. And yeah, the harassment damage is getting done. MuleBot can't land at this base because it blocked it. And the Red Terran is really running out of steam here. Yeah, I think if MuleBot just sort of had like two modes, or maybe a bit more dynamic programming. Where's that BC go? Okay, it teleports to this base to be repaired. The most forward base. Yes, I think if MuleBot just sort of had two modes, like the harassment mode where you throw everything at your opponent is good, but then you do at some point need to group up your forces so you take a better fight. Or maybe even a third option where it kind of does both of those things. As if it's just grouped up most of its units but sent some out to harass. That would be quite strong, but unfortunately, that is not what we're seeing here today. A very interesting game between these two, and that's exactly what you hope to see. MuleBot kind of ensures that no game will be the same. Like this ghost, it's doing more time running around. It's like, you're cloaked, man. You could just be shooting until a scan ensures your death, but it's not really doing that. So yeah, really well done by ANIBot, able to survive and eventually come back. Its cyclone use is very good. It's probably the bot that uses those the best so far from what I've seen, as they're just doing mad work, and they put out so much damage. It's crazy in this patch. All right, everything's going to be cleaned up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots. If you want to see more of these goofy bot matches, subscribe. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. I announce tournaments, updates, that kind of thing. And if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. And big thanks to everyone who does that. Well done by ANIBot using the Liberators. And, like, you just look at ANIBot's units, and they're seemingly attacking a lot more than the units of MuleBot, which maybe aren't being, I don't know, like, as direct or something. Liberators can't really kill buildings, though. This isn't the campaign. So we will need to see some other things get in here to do that. GG.